New bike day again. I know I'm such a lucky rider. Right behind me is a 170, 160, 85 Newton meters, 750 watt battery, 63.7 degree head tube angle. I know, such a beast of an e-bike. I cannot wait to show you. And riders, who can guess what it is? Do you want to see it? I'm excited. You should be too. Let's go. Riders, welcome back to Sam's Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes, and this is my new e-bike, the Giant Rain E+. And a massive shout out for Giant for sending it out. I'm super excited to ride this beast. We are in Malaga and I'm with an old friend, Mark Beltran, who's an ex-Fleet Street photographer and runs his own production house down in Malaga. So riders, anyone that needs some video work, check him out. I thought I would kill two birds with one stone. I've got a pro on the tools here. I've got this epic new Rain. So this video is going to be a little bit different, but I'm super excited to test it and get some pro footage. And before we crack on, let's thank the sponsors. Shorby, making the best mountain bike tires in the business, in my opinion. Insta360, the smallest action camera on the market. And in this video, we will be using the One RS, the new action camera that's 320 euros. It also turns into a 360 camera if you get the extra lens. And the new sponsor at Sam's Bikes, Quad Lock, doing all smartphone holders and cradles for your bike, your motorbike, your car, your camper van, and pretty much everything in between. So let's check out the new Giant Rain. We are rolling on a mullet setup, so 29 at the front, 27 at the back. We've got the new Sync Drive Pro with 85 Newton meters and a smaller sort of bottom piece here, which gives you way better clearance, a 750 watt battery, Maestro suspension, carbon wheels. This bike is coming in at 7,500 euros, which really is outrageously priced and giving the online companies a run for their money. Geo numbers in a large 480 reach, head tube angle 63.7, seep tube angle 77.5, and a shorter chain stay of the old Rain with 454. Now, enough of all the numbers, enough of all the jargon, let's go ride it. All right, so all we want to know is really, how does the Giant Rain downhill? So as I said, we're doing a bit of a mix, a bit of a mescla here. Whoa! And it definitely is chalk and cheese from the Trance. This is a pretty heavy downhill. I've actually done it once in my life, and I remember it being scared shitless, but the Rain is eating it up for breakfast. 63.7 head tube angle. We've also got a flip chip that we can go to 64.5, I believe. Yeah, super impressed. I've actually done, I don't want to say this is the shakedown ride. This will be my third ride on the Rain, and I found it on my first ride out in Pardo. That's where I normally do my shakedowns. Well, normally do my warm-up shakedown, because shakedown rides can be dangerous, as we know. And I'm gonna say, so blown away. Like, it feels like 180, 170, I reckon. The Maestro suspension, I'm gonna definitely say, feels more like a Canevo. And the Trance, you know, the difference between the Trance is so much more fun at my trail center, but I wouldn't want to take the Trance down this stuff. And I thank Giant so much for sending it out to me. It's really great to have both bikes to back, because, you know, the Trance is really going to be a bike that is going to work for a lot of people, and the Rain also, so it's really good for me to understand both. And we're shooting everything on the Insta360 One RS. And what do you reckon of the footage of the Insta360 One RS? This is a 320 euro 4K action camera. I reckon it's pretty rad. And actually right now, link in the show notes, Insta360 have an Easter sale going on. So today we're doing shuttles in Malaga. As I said yesterday, I was out with Mark. So we're going to put it all together, and I thought it would be a good opportunity while we're riding to the top of the hill to talk about the motor because it's the new sync drive with 85 newton meters, and it's actually based on a Yamaha PWX3. So I've been super impressed with this motor. I think it's super smooth. It's got no rattle. It's got amazing low end grunt when you're climbing. So if you're climbing something really steep, don't freak out. You can slow that cadence right down and just muscle it up. Really good. Put it on par with the Bros and the Bosch. There's no rattle, which is amazing. Maybe if we're talking about top end power, maybe it's got a little bit less than the Bosch and the Bros. I definitely put the sync drive and the Bosch and the Bros in the top category now. And yeah, the EPA's lacking a bit. We're rocking a 750 watt battery in the top spec in the Zero that I'm riding. And it's also available the 625. And we'll talk about the remotes. The remotes are really nice. Really like this minimalistic. We do have an automatic mode, which works very well. I would say the automatic mode can be a little bit jerky. Like sometimes it's really good and other times you get a little bit of a pulse. So I know they are working on, constant upgrades and updates. So I'm sure we'll see an improvement on that. As I said, range is really good, which is, in my opinion, the most important part of an e-bike, the range. So let's talk build. So I'm riding the Zero, which is 7,500 euros. You are getting the 85 newton meter sync drive, 750 watt battery, getting aluminium frame, getting 160, 170 of suspension, full Fox suspension, codes, unfortunately, and carbon rims. 7,500 euros. I've been saying it for ages now. This has to be the best value Super Enduro e-bike if you buy in a bike shop or online. All right, let's talk about sizing. So I'm riding the large, which has a 480 reach. And I would say when I got on it, it actually felt more like 470 reach. It's not a massive bike. But I'm gonna put that down to the 77 seat tube angle as well, because you sit really kind of in the middle of the bike when you're pedaling. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's too small for me. I don't like a really long bike. I kind of feel everyone is riding too long bikes these days. So, but if you want something super planted and, really DH style, maybe size up. I'm 183 centimeters. And I'm happy with a large. Maybe if I was racing some really open trails and I really wanted to be planted, I might go up to the extra large with a 500 reach. Maybe. I'd have to try it. So now let's have a look at the new Rain versus the old Rain versus the Trance. Okay, so the new Rain is a mullet. It's got 160 at the back, 170 at the front. And the thing that's changed from the old one, in my opinion, it's gone mullet. And also the change day's gone from 470 to 454, which I really think is a benefit for this type of bike. And also the motor has shrunk in size. There was kind of like a belly on the motor on the old one. It was kind of pretty ugly. It's also gone down in weight and gone up in power. So, a big upgrade. I was kind of really blown away by the old Rain. I tested it like 2.5 years ago. Link in the show notes. I went out testing bikes at Wheel Rides in Adelaide. And I first did the Canevo. And then Will, who's an ex-World Cup downhill racer, he said, Sam, you really should get on the Rain. I said, all right, he had a Rain. And, but wow, such a confident bike. And my mate Dominic said he'd never seen me ride so confident on a bike on the first day. I did all the big jumps. I really, really liked it. I thought the change day was going to be too long, but it actually was a very well balanced bike. And going on to the new Rain, I've been riding some pretty hardcore trails, and instantly I felt pretty at home on it. The setup was good. Didn't take me long to get it set up. Still got to do some more tweaking. But yeah, really like the Maestro suspension. Just super planted. Definitely thinks the benefit is shorten that change day. And we've gone up to a 750 watt battery in the top model. I'm kind of thinking, I want to see if the Trance battery is compatible, because 750 is pretty big. And also, you're adding like another kilo to this bike. This bike here is a pretty heavy bike. I haven't weighed it. I reckon it'd be around 24. I reckon a smaller battery might work for me. I don't need a 750, but you know, you are getting 20% more power. Yeah, I might like to try that. And then going on to the Trance, which I've been lucky enough to ride, and that is a total different beast. You know, like I've been talking about it for a while on the channel. We've got trail bikes, we've got enduro bikes, and then we've got things like that I'm calling trail enduro, which have lower suspension figures, but more geometry of an enduro bike. The Trance is not that bike. The Trance is a trail bike, 100%. 150, 140, and it's so much fun at my local trail center, but it is a lot different to the Reign. If you're thinking of doing, you know, more enduro or harder trails, you're going to be 100% more confident on the Reign. But I'm going to say at my local trail center, I'll be taking the Trance all day long. So how does the Reign climb for such a big, hard-hitting enduro e-bike? Well, it climbs fine, just like most electric mountain bikes, because you got a motor and you got a battery, take you up the hill. Definitely does not climb anywhere near as good as the Trance, but it gets the job done. Now let's talk about a few things I don't like about the Reign, because no bike's perfect. First off, I'm not a big fan of the handlebars. They're really flat. I'd like to see some riser bars, but that's just my style, and I am a little bit old school. Also not sure why we want carbon rims on an aluminium bike. I haven't had any problem with them, but I'd like to know what the thinking is behind that, right? If anyone has any idea, let me know. And the tyres, it comes with Max Terra front and back, which is the harder compound. I'd really like to see a Max grip come on the front of this bike as stock. But apart from that, I think they've done a really good job. And obviously, and also bringing it in at that 7.5 grand. This is blowing a lot of bike shop prices away. And it's also pretty much going head to head with online companies. But you know, you're getting that local support, which I think is super good. Like, these things are e-bikes, they do go wrong more. Having local support is definitely worth it. So riders, that's almost it for me here today. Oh, hang on, this is pretty steep and nasty here. Oh, the Reign's eating it up. That's pretty much me for today. Let me know what you want to see. You know, what tests you want me to do on this bike. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer them, of course, like always. And you know it. Stay safe out there. And don't forget to subscribe to Sam's Bikes, because we're bringing all this hot e-bike content on a weekly basis. And riders, I'm going to see you next week. You.